What happens to you when you look at this image? Perhaps looking at this painting for the first time, you already feel that there might be something wrong with it, or that it looks bizarre. Am I right? What do you notice that's odd? Perhaps you find the old man's expression not very friendly, or that the dissymmetry of his face bothers you, that his mysterious look hides something? What if I told you that there is something in this painting that goes beyond what the eye can see? Yes, this painting has a twist. But don't feel guilty if you can't guess the secrets behind the Old Fisherman. They are not that obvious. You have to look at them from a different perspective. Are you ready to see this picture in a different way? Or rather, two different ways? The Old Fisherman is a 1902 painting by the Hungarian artist Tivadar Kosztka Csontváry. In this painting, we see an old fisherman by the sea, wearing simple clothes and with an expression on his face that seems to convey tiredness and a bad mood. Csontváry has painted the expression lines on the fisherman's face quite sharply, showing that this fisherman is of an advanced age. Besides his age, the expression lines also indicate sunburnt skin, which makes sense since he's a fisherman and must spend many hours exposed to daylight. The fisherman appears to be a wise man with many years of experience. The gentleman supports his body on a cane that he holds firmly with both hands. In the background, we can see the sea breaking into waves, which come close to a populated place with some buildings. The buildings are not the same. In one part, there are only tiny houses as if it were a fishing village, and in the other part, there are big factory chimneys which are emitting pollution into the air. Even in the background, you can also see the outline of large mountains which surround the place. So far, so good. It seems to be a normal painting of an old man fishing. But don't you think the shape of the fisherman's face is a bit strange? I mean, why is one side bigger than the other? How about if you look at this painting in a different way? Let's see. What if I try to mirror the sides of his face? Would the fisherman's face look symmetrical, or is it more harmonious? Come on then, I'll mirror the left side first. Oops, what's that? Look how the painting has changed a bit, don't you think so? When I mirror the left side of the old fisherman in this way, you can see how the old man's face becomes more harmonious and his expression softer. This way he looks concentrated and thoughtful. His hands are joined in front of his body. In the background, the buildings seem further away and you can no longer see the waves, only the calm sea. There's also a dark outline around the man's body, as if he were in a boat. So when I mirror the left side of the painting in this way, the mysterious fisherman turns into a benevolent figure who is praying or meditating while sailing on a sea of calm waters. Now, I want to ask you a trick question. Does this image by any chance remind you of a well-known important figure? Who knows? God, maybe? Okay, I want to see what happens if I mirror the painting on the right-hand side. What will appear? Let's try it. Oh my god, what just happened here? Wow, it even looks like a totally different painting. I'm even getting chills. What bizarre creature is this? Let's start with the background of the painting. Here, the sea is rougher with lots of waves, and the mountains seem to form a big wall, so big that you can't see the top. The buildings in the background are closer to the old man too. And wait, he doesn't look so much like an innocent old man anymore, does he? No, he becomes a macabre and frightening entity. As we mirror the painting to the right side, the old fisherman turns into the devil. The expression on his face is more somber, and he seems to be looking directly at whoever is looking at the painting. Man, I even feel as if he's looking deep into my eyes. Oh no, this is so terrifying and uncomfortable, isn't it? His hat, from this perspective, splits and becomes two horns. His hands are joined together in a bizarre triangular shape. Illuminati or what? There's also a dark shape around his body. The shape can be interpreted in two ways. Either the devil is standing upright and this dark shape is like a heavy cape that leaves him with a hump, or he's lying down and the dark shape is a coffin. Which one do you think it looks more like? Another thing that I also find interesting to note is that if we consider the first option, it makes sense to remember that in the original form of the painting, the one without mirroring, the old man supports his body with a cane. Would the hunchbacked fisherman be like the devil? Or is it just a characteristic of his advanced age? Either way, it's a peculiar coincidence. When you mirror the Old Fisherman, the painting that is so mysterious ends up taking on two totally different perspectives of each other, which also end up being quite different from the original image. It's as if you can see the two aspects of the old man. The light aspect, indicating a peaceful man praying in calm waters, and the shadow aspect, a devilish figure sailing on turbulent waters. The peace and the chaos. By revealing the two sides of the painting, the message Csontváry wanted to convey through the Old Fisherman becomes very clear. The dual nature of the human being, who has his good side and his bad side. Some people also believe that the meaning of the painting may be interconnected with the characteristics of bipolarity. Another very cool interpretation to take into account is that because it is about the two sides of a fisherman, it could very well be the portrait of two soul fishermen, God and the devil. Csontváry was a painter of the expressionist style, but in The Old Fisherman, the Hungarian artist uses well-known techniques from another movement, the Baroque. These techniques are optical illusion and trompe-l'oeil. Paintings like this one hide secrets that require the observer to look from a different perspective in order to understand the real meaning, or simply discover random elements that for some reason the artist wanted to hide. It happens sometimes. Did you know that Csontváry was considered a madman during his time? Yeah, he was a very peculiar man. I believe only someone as exotic as him could have painted the Old Fisherman. Tivadar Kosztka Csontváry was a Hungarian expressionist painter who was part of the avant-garde movement back in the early 20th century. For most of his life, Csontváry worked only in Hungary, in the capital Budapest. He was far from the main art centers of Europe at the time, and yet he managed to become one of the first Hungarian painters to become known in the rest of the European continent, but not in a very pleasant way, since his fame only really came after his death. Gladly, today, Csontváry's paintings are considered part of Hungary's national treasures. It took Csontváry a while to start dedicating his life to art. Until just before his 30th birthday, he worked as a pharmacist, but this changed after he received a vision. Csontváry had very strong religious beliefs, and one day he claimed that God came to him, telling him that he should become a painter because he would become very famous that way. After this event, he quit his job and promised himself that he would not stop painting until he fulfilled his divine destiny. Well, this mission was not executed in the way he expected, right? Sort of. At least in the end, he turned out to be famous indeed. Because it took a while for him to start painting, most of Csontváry's works were made in a short period of time, between the years 1903 and 1909. Most of his paintings had the opportunity to be seen by a large public and were shown in some exhibitions in Paris and other important venues in Western Europe. But as I mentioned before, Csontváry was known to have a rather eccentric personality for his time. The Hungarian painter had some behaviors that were considered strange for the society of that time, but which, if they were today, would be seen as something completely normal. For example, the fact that he was a vegetarian, against alcoholism, had a strong opposition to smoking, and also had a pacifist personality was looked down upon. In some biographies about the painter, some historians speculate that he was schizophrenic. Csontváry has produced over 100 paintings. The Lonely Cedar, 1907, is his most famous painting, and The Rendezvous, Meeting of the Lovers, 1902, his most expensive one, was purchased in 2006 by an anonymous buyer for over 1 million euros. The Old Fisherman is one of Csontváry's notorious works, which perfectly captures why he's considered one of Hungary's best painters. The Old Fisherman is on display at the Otto Hermann Museum, but you can find more of the artist's work in his own museum, the Csontváry Museum in Pécs. What did you think of the dark duality of the Old Fisherman? Were you also shocked? Which mirrored version did you like best? Or is the original version your favorite one? Or maybe were you divided when it came to deciding? If you like this video and want to discover more mysterious paintings like the Old Fisherman or eccentric artists like Csontváry, leave your like here, subscribe to my channel, and of course, turn on the notifications to stay informed about the new videos. See you next time!